Right. So we are back at our regular astrology teaching session after covering all the ascendants for 2025. Now back at our regular session. So I think till the last session we covered all the houses up to house number 12. So in this session we are going to see two concepts related with houses. These are house-based concepts. Okay. And if there is time, we will cover like what is the basic difference between houses and signs. Okay. So understand this is the first concept. It is called Bhavat Bhavam. Okay. Bhavat Bhavam means Bhav means houses. So Bhavat Bhavam means like similar energy of houses. We can interpret it like this, or similar nature of houses. Okay. So this concept starts with the second house. It cannot start with the first house. Okay. Second house. Okay. What is the main significance of second house as well? Money. Okay. Assets. Your family lineage, and all. So so if we want to see if like how much money someone can make, or what is the source of money, or where they can get their best wealth, we need to look at second house. We can also look at third house because it is second from the second. Start counting from second house and reach second from the second. That will be the third house. Okay. Third house is another house, secondary house, you can say. Okay. Best word I can relate with Bhavat is like kind of secondary house for the same thing. So, if you want to see someone's wealth, the primary house will be the second house. Secondary house will be the third house because it is second from the second. Likewise, third house. Third house is the house of your business efforts, skills, interest, and all. So third house is primary house of these things like business, communication, efforts, willpower, courage, and traveling and all. If you want to know another house through this, through which you can get these things, is like third from the third. Start counting from third house and count up to the three houses. So one, two, three. So fifth house will become Bhavat of third house. So if you understand what I am doing, for second house, Bhavat secondary house will be the third house because it is second from the second. Now I am doing third from the third. So fifth house is the secondary house for all those things which third house represents. Likewise, fourth house represents your mother, home, homely environment, real estate matters. But if you want to see which other house can represent the similar things, it is fourth from the fourth. You start counting from fourth house and reach four houses away. One, two, three, four. So fourth from the fourth is seventh house. Seventh house becomes Bhavat of fourth house. It is secondary house of the fourth house related matters. Fourth house remains the primary house for real estate, home, mother, and all. But if you want to see it from seventh house, it becomes the secondary house. So likewise, we need to count for the same number of houses from wherever we are starting the counting. So like for fifth house, our home will be the ninth house. Why? Because it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So it is ninth house is secondary house for the fifth house. Okay, fifth house remains the primary house for education, creativity, children, and all. Ninth house becomes the secondary house. Then, if you want to know how sixth house, start counting from sixth house and count for six houses. Sixth house is like litigation, conflicts, disagreements, health issues and all, and start counting from the sixth house. Is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sixth from the sixth is 11th house. 11th house becomes Bhavat Bhavan of sixth house. Like this, if you want to know the Bhavat Bhavan of any house, just count that many houses away from there. So that next house becomes like secondary house becomes the Bhavat Bhavan of the primary house. Okay. It is an additional house to look for similar things, like if someone comes to me for real estate related matters, okay, like predictions or when they can buy a real estate property and all, I should look at fourth house, but I can also look at the seventh house because it is Bhavad Bhavam of fourth house. Okay. So fourth house remains the primary house. First, my focus should go onto the fourth house, but I can also look at the seventh house. Okay, if fourth house dasha transits are not going on, but seventh house dasha transits are going on, then we can consider seventh house also. But primary focus should be the normal house, the fourth house of like real estate. My first focus should go on to the primary house. Then, if that is not available, this is subsidiary. Okay, this is just like secondary option I have. Likewise, if someone is looking for childbirth related consultation, my first focus should go on to fifth house. Then I can consider ninth house also. It cannot happen that I will directly jump into the ninth house. That should not happen. I should first see the fifth house possibility, then I should come to the ninth house possibility. Okay. So this is called Bhavad Bhavan. So if we just quickly go through, second house Bhavad Bhavan will be the third house. So third house is another house by which you can get your an idea about your wealth or resources of wealth. Third house Bhavad Bhavan will be the fifth house. So fifth house is another house where you can get idea of all those things which third house represents. Fourth house represents your like real estate matters, mother, relationship with mother and home and all. Then seventh house is fourth from the fourth. Seventh house also represents the similar things. Fifth house represents creativity, children, and education. Ninth house is fifth from the fifth. So it also represents the same things. Sixth house represents conflicts, litigation, health issues, debts, and all. 11th house is sixth from the sixth. So it also represents the same things. Seventh house represents your partner, relationship partner, business partner, other people, markets. First house also represents the same thing because first house is seventh from the seventh. Eighth house represents your relationship benefits, business benefits, death and rebirth, major transformation. Third house is eighth from the eighth. If you start counting from eighth house and read third house, there are eight houses in between. So third house is eighth from the eighth. So it third house becomes Bhavat Bhavan of eighth house. It also represents all the things which eighth house represents. Ninth house is your higher education, guidance, counseling, religion, philosophy, and all. Ninth from the ninth will be the fifth house. Fifth house becomes the secondary or Bhavat Bhavan house of ninth house. 10th house is the house of father, your career authority recognition. 10th from the 10th will be the seventh house. Okay. So this is how like seventh house becomes third house of 10th house. 11th house is the house of like your income gains. 11th from the 11th will be the ninth house. Ninth house will also represent the same. And finally, 12th house is the house of spirituality, foreign lands and all. 12th from the 12th will be 12th from the 12th will be 11th house. Okay. So 11th house also becomes the house which we can look for foreign travels or income gains and all. Sorry, your expenses is for spirituality and foreign lands and all these kind of things. We can also look for 11th house. But as I said, main important thing that it is secondary house. Bhavatbhavan house is always the secondary house. It should not be given the primary importance. Primary importance will be the main house. If I'm looking for real estate matters, my eyes should first go on to the fourth house. That's it. Okay. Then I can consider a seventh house later. But my primary focus should be the primary house. This is the concept of Bhavat. Then we will have another look at another concept. So this is like another concept related with houses, and this concept shows us that how whole chart is interlinked with each other. It is not that first house is separate from the second house is separate from the tenth house is separate from the fifth house. They all are interlinked each other. Okay. It is like looking at many different things from this one chart only. Okay. Like, let's just start with like simple examples. Okay. So suppose I don't have my mother's chart. Okay. And I have my own chart, but I don't know her birth details, and I have no idea how to acquire her birth details and all now. So what I can do, and I need some help. Okay, I need some help in matters related with her health. Let's say. So fourth house is mother. Okay. Uh, what is the house of health issues? Sixth house. So sixth from the fourth will be the mother's health issues. Like if we start counting from this house, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I reach ninth house. Ninth house is sixth from the fourth. So ninth house represents my mother's health issues. Okay. Likewise, if I started counting from 10th house is the house of father. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Third house becomes my father's health issues. Okay. So whenever ninth house gets activated, there is possibility to health issues to my mother. Whenever third house gets activated, there is a possibility of health issues to my father. Uh, Ninth house is although the house of fortune, luck, and all, and it is considered as the most auspicious house. But if you see, it is 12th from the 10th. Okay, if you start counting from 10th house and reach ninth house, there are all 12 houses in between. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What is 12th house? 12th house is the house of losses. So 10th house is the house of career. Ninth house represents loss of career because it is 12th from the 10th. So it represents loss of career. That's why ninth house represents the events like firing, layoffs, and resignations. Okay. Likewise, if we start counting from 10th house and reach 5th house, okay, how many houses are in between? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 houses are in between. In between this 10th house and 5th house, there are 8 houses in between, both inclusive. Okay. So what is eighth house? Eighth house is the house of major changes. So fifth house represents major changes in the career. Fifth house as it is eighth from the 10th. So it represents major changes in career or in matters of father. Okay. Fifth house is eighth from the 10th. So major changes in your career, authority, recognition, fame, or major changes in matters of your father can be seen from the fifth house. Okay. Uh, let's say I have two younger siblings. Okay. I have two younger siblings and all, and normally the house of younger sibling is third house. Third house is younger sibling, but it is actually the first younger sibling, the immediately after you. Okay, one immediate after you is seen from the third house. But I have two younger siblings. Then how I will count? I will count three from third also. Okay, one, two, three. Fifth house will be my second younger sibling. Likewise, first child is seen from the fifth house. First conception is seen from the fifth house. Second conception will be seen from the seventh house. Why? Because it is third from the fifth. One, two, three. Third from the fifth means younger sibling of your first child. That is why, like, second child is seen from the, or second conception is seen from the, like, seventh house. Suppose someone wants to know, like, the happiness factor. Okay. Like, why, like, if you see now, 10th house is your career, okay, work, and second house is your wealth. Now I start counting from 10th to second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is fifth house? Fifth house is happiness. So what does it mean? Your wealth is happiness of your career. Wealth is the happiness you get out of your career. 11th house is second from the 10th. Second is wealth. Okay. Second is gain. So 11th house shows gains from your career or gains from your father. How much gain you are getting from your father. Okay. Sixth house is litigation. Okay, this is interesting. Fifth house is litigation, like getting into conflict and like filing a case. Seventh house is the next house. If I have a like conflict dispute and I want to file a case, where I have to go, seventh house, the court hall. Okay. So this is why seventh house represents court halls. Eighth house is third from the sixth. If you start counting from sixth house and reach eighth house, three houses. Okay. Third house is communication. Okay. So eighth house represents judgment of your litigation. Okay. Judgment of your conflict. It is communication of your conflict. Okay. What is the final judgment? If I want to see, like, okay, if I file this case today, when I can expect a judgment in that matter? Eighth house. Eighth house is judgments, because it is third from the sixth. It is like communication of your litigation. Let's say fifth house. Fifth house is love romance. Okay. Seventh house is your committed relationship. How many houses they are away? 1, 2, 3. Seventh house is third from the fifth. Third is expression. So your committed relationship is expression of your love romance matter. Elder sibling is 11th house, and suppose my elder sibling has a child, where I can see his or her first child in my chart. Start counting from 11th house and count for 5 houses, because 5th house is the first. Elder sibling's child is third house. Yeah. Third house is fifth from the 11th house. Okay. Likewise, if my younger sibling has a child, again we start counting from third house, seventh house. Seventh house will be the child of my younger sibling. Okay. So this is called house to house system. You can connect everything all together in your life through these house to house system. And if you play around with this concept for 1 week, you will realize that this chart is perfectly placed. Okay, there cannot be like a better example of algorithm in a way, right? So it is uh, if I give you an example, second house is the house of wealth. Okay, and ninth house is the house of your religious pursuits. Second house is also your family. Okay. If you start counting from second house and reach ninth house, there are 8 houses in between. Eighth is death and rebirth. Okay. What happens if someone goes on to religious pursuits, someone takes a sannyas in a conventional way and all, his family goes through a major transformation. Before sannyas, he has a different family. Now, after sannyas, monastery is his family. So, ninth house is eighth from the second. Your religious pursuit can bring a transformation in your family. Likewise, you can count from here also. If you start counting from ninth house and reach second house, there are 6 houses in between. Your sixth house is obstacle. Your religious pursuits can become an obstacle in your family life. Okay. Normally, we segregate spiritual life and materialistic life. So, if someone is following that idea, then that conventional idea that okay, either I can be spiritual, I can be materialistic and all, or I can be materialistic but I cannot be spiritual at the same time, then your religious pursuits are going to impact are going to create obstacle in your family life. Okay. Final example I can give is losses. 12th house is the house of losses. Third house is the house of, second house is the house of wealth. What are the houses in between? 1, 2, 3. 3 is the house of investments. Okay. When you make your expenses in investment, when you let go of money in an investment, it creates your wealth. Okay, understand? Losses, expenses, 12th house means you are paying out the money. Okay, and third house is the house of investment. 3 houses away, third house is the house of investment, and second house is the wealth. So if you pay out money in investment, then it creates your wealth. Okay. Now, if you start counting from second house and reach 12th house, there are 11 houses in between. 11th house is gains. Okay. Your wealth is gain of your effort, like, or energy lost. Okay. How much energy you lose uh, up to that point, accordingly you make money in your life. Okay, if I'm not putting any effort, because 12th house is not like only losses, expenses in the financial terms. 12th house is also your energy lost, where you are putting your efforts, where you are losing your energy. That is 12th house. So your energy lost shows the gain of wealth. If I am putting a lot of effort, obviously I will make a lot of money. But if I am not putting like any effort, I cannot expect much money. Okay. So this is how we can connect with the house to house concept, and it can be like helpful in understanding this whole like chart in a different. Okay. I hope this is helpful. In the next session, we will see how like houses and signs uh, are connected to each other. What things houses represents and what things sign represents. What is the difference between the two? Okay. First house represents Aries energy. Aries represents first house energy. But what things Aries represent from first house, what things Aries don't represent, doesn't represent. Likewise, what things Cancer represents, what of fourth house, but what thing like Cancer doesn't represent of fourth house. This is what we are going to discuss in the next session. Thank you.